Hi. Today we are going to discuss the next question. We promised you to discuss the most important questions for testers about requirement analysis, and this question is how. How you should do this on your project, how to be good at requirement analysis. So, how?
Yeah, let's start. And yesterday we learned the topic what problems the requirements can have. So usually on a real project, requirements are not perfect. There are several problems. And what is the problems? So an example of these problems you can find in the article on our Facebook group or in our Telegram channel, so read it firstly.
Yeah, but still that's not enough, like analyze the requirements and say, okay, that's requirements are bad, they are unclear, they consist some inconsistencies and so on. So far, testers must not only identify the problems, but try to do something to solve these problems. And what should they do?
Yeah, what we should do with the requirements. So what does it mean, analyze requirements actually?
Yeah, from the point of view of solving questions, like the step to solving questions is, of course, asking questions.
Wow! So requirements analysis is, this is asking questions. Seems so easy.
Yes, it sounds very simple, but I suppose that's not always true that asking questions is simple because well-formulated question is actually like 70% of your mental work while analyzing and a half of way to solving the problem. So I suppose while asking the questions, the very first point is to ask good questions.
Absolutely. So what does it mean asking a good question? As you already know, there are several problems with requirements. So when you formulate your question, you also should find the same problems as you found it in requirements. So think about your questions. Are they correct? Are they atomic? Are they unambitious?
Yeah, try to be still polite without being too wordy. Try to Google some abbreviation. Do not ask kind of obvious question. Yeah, do not waste responsible people's time and so on.
Yeah, do
So
not ask question about rules of domain area of your
yeah,
application. This can be
that's
Google.
that's gonna be yeah, Googled easily. So do not ask obvious question. And still, one more important rule:
It's to
ask.
ask all possible questions. What does it mean, all possible questions?
Yeah, be sure that you clarified all the information that seems ununderstandable for you, that you filled all the gaps that you have in the requirements. Moreover, be brave. Do not hesitate to ask just one more additional question if you are not sure that you understand the previous answer correctly. Do not wait that someone else will clarify one more question. So be brave and ask more questions if it needed.
Yeah, yes. Don't afraid to ask as many questions as possible. And the next thing we should remember while asking question that we are functional testers, first of all.
Yeah, and you should clarify all the information that you need for future testing. That means that you should have all the data for test design, to create your test cases, to create your checklist. You should have all the test data for test execution and so on. And still, you should look through the requirements like a little bit like a final user, yet to have in the head like an image of future testing, like you will interact with this feature and so on, and maybe some more questions will appear when you will look at the requirements from this side.
Absolutely. So Previous sprint, we learned software development life cycle. And the first step is requirements analysis, but this is just the first step. After it, there are other main steps which should be performed. It's creation, testing, documentation, and testing itself. So you should be able to do these steps on a good way, on a with a high quality, and this means that you should do requirements analysis better, the best, if it's possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, when we are talking about requirements analysis, for sure we're thinking about how to ask questions. But for me, very important things that you should not just try to find as many bugs in your requirements as possible. Stepping back, also we have such kind of testing types, which also we learned in our first sprint. It's called requirements testing. But I don't like to name this phase as requirements testing because our goal as a functional testers not just to find bugs in requirements, but our goal firstly, initially, is to analyze them, to build a full picture, to see the place of our feature which is described in the requirements, and to understand the goal of our product.
Yeah, still looking at the application and its feature that's going to be implemented. Do not forget that how is about asking the question. So the way you're going to analyze, to test the requirements is asking questions. So do not forget to make your questions consistent with the requirements, with good rules of writing the requirements. Your questions should be atomic, correct, well formulated, clear, and so on, and try to avoid asking obvious question. And when you will ask all this question, you will have this like the whole picture you've mentioned. Yeah, when you fill all the gaps, when you will clarify all the questions, when you will not hesitate to ask one more additional question, and okay, a high quality feature is going to be released.
Yeah, and this is our goal. So hope this video helps you to ask good questions on your projects.
Yeah, stay with us. See you. Bye.
Bye.